Welcome, everybody, to the next edition of the Stay on Course podcast. I'm honored to welcome Marques Ogden. He's a former NFL offensive lineman, keynote speaker, author, business coach, and host of the Get Authentic with Marques Ogden podcast. And Marques has built his life around a powerful message of resilience, accountability, and leadership, and what it really takes to rise after adversity. And today we are going to be talking about ingredients for success for building authenticity inside of your life and business. Welcome, Marques, to the Stay on Course podcast.
How are you, Julie? Thanks for having me on.
I'm super excited for this conversation. But before I get started, Marques, I ask all of my guests, what is your favorite food?
Seafood.
Okay. Tell me more about that.
So I absolutely love fried scallops. I don't get them very often in the Raleigh area, but there is a new restaurant called Cape Fear. It is a nice seafood restaurant in Cary, North Carolina. I love seafood, specifically fried scallops, fried shrimp, clam strips, crab legs, all that kind of good stuff.
I love it. And you know what? I have to agree. I love seafood as well. It's my favorite. Give me a fruta de mare, at any Italian restaurant, I like all the different kinds of seafood. Like I'm not making that up, Marques. It is literally it's really what I love.
You got good taste.
I know. We both do. And so tell us a little bit about, well, I think everybody wants to hear about your time with the NFL. Tell us about maybe the transition that you had from being in the NFL to doing what you're doing now.
So I really had a phenomenal career in the National Football League for almost 6 years. It was great, playing with some great teams, great players, great teammates, being around great coaches. When I left the NFL, I struggled immensely for about 6 months with addiction, alcohol, nightlife, gambling, made some poor decisions. Then I got to construction, built this massive company, multiple 8 figures a year. We were crushing it. And then I got this massive ego as a result of our success and our prosperity and our becoming very wealthy. And I just blew up in my head, and I just got so egotistical, right, Julie? I ended up losing everything monetarily, home, cars, everything. In 2013, I moved to Raleigh, North Carolina with $400 to my name. I was fired from 2 jobs in the same week. I then took a job as a custodian working in downtown Raleigh for $8.25 an hour. And I hit rock bottom on my shift, taking the trash out when someone's rotten meat, nasty, protruding, horrible smelling garbage got all over me. And that was my wake-up call. And one of my favorite people is J.K. Rowling, who wrote the Harry Potter series.
Yeah.
Her quote literally is one of my favorites on earth. Rock bottom is the moment that rebuilt my life. Because she wrote Harry Potter at rock bottom.
Yes.
She was broke, living in a car, and she got the idea for the book in a coffee shop in Portugal. She saw Dungeons and Dragons on the wallpaper on the ceiling, and that gave her the inspiration. So when she was writing the book, she was living in her car.
Wow.
And the only billionaire author today is J.K. Rowling. She's given away over $250 million in funding to different groups and homeless associations and just charities. She's an amazing human being. And so for me, then when I hit rock bottom, I started speaking in September 2013. Didn't get a paid job for 2.5 years. Got my first paid job in April of 2016. 2018, I met Mel Robbins, was on her audiobook, got coached. And so I learned the business. So in the last 10 years, since 2016 going forward, we've worked for over 90 Fortune 500 companies as a speaker. We are a 5-time best-selling author, 6-time best-selling author. We're ready to work on our 7th book now. It's be our 3rd, kind of like by ourselves, and it's called Built from the Storm, the Bison operating system. And I'm a coach, I'm a speaker, I'm a podcast. I have a podcast called Get Authentic with Marques Ogden. And we're really just blessed, right, Julie, to be doing what we're doing. But We've gone through a lot of hardships, a lot of rough times, a lot of rocky times to get where we're at today.
I love that story because one of the things that I can say from my own history is that it was that moment of time of hitting rock bottom. I had the opportunity to do that too. And in the rock bottom moment, you think, wow, there's really nothing anyone can take from me now. The only way to go is up. And that I remember having that thought, what are they going to take from me next? There's nothing possible that they could take from me. And it was just this moment as an awakening, right? Where it's okay, now all I have to do is rebuild. And so I can imagine that the the message of purpose came to you in this rock bottom moment, and you figured out that you had this whole other life before this, and now this is your second career. I call it the phase two. This is your phase two, and this is the purpose phase of your life. Although the other one was pretty exciting, I'm sure this one is equally as exciting.
This one, Julie, is more exciting because this one is not about me. And again, football was about the team and our fans, right? But that was a small number compared to what we're doing today. And my construction company was really, unfortunately, about me. And that's why I lost it, because I didn't take care of the people in my charge. I was all about what I call the personality ethics: rage, wrath, greed. Specifically, greed was my biggest one. And I ended up losing it all. So this one, it's about serving mankind. It's about trying to make the world a better place. I'm in this program now called the Leader Program, and I absolutely love it. And the guy's name is Taylor Conway, who's the creator. He said the best speakers create contrast in their message, where the world is like this, not doing as well as we wanted to, but with your message, your challenge, the world will be better if people would listen to your message. So like Dr. King was trying to stop segregation, right? Then we had Nelson Mandela, who was trying to stop apartheid. We had Mother Teresa trying to stop world hunger. Princess Diana wanted people to be kind to each other. Gandhi, the same thing. What they would do in their talks, they would say the world's like this, but if we want to make it better, bring light to segregation, Dr. King would say.
Yeah.
Bring food to the hungry, Mother Teresa would say. Gandhi would say, just be nice to people like you're nice to your neighbor. There's things like that. And these people's message changed the world. What we're doing here at Ogden Ventures, we're about changing the world to a better place, for a better cause, because we want other people to feel inspired to have what they want in life. If they're going through a hard time like I did, bankrupt, broke, almost homeless, eating out of food pantries, no money, no credit cards. I remember going to the store when trying to charge $20 for milk and bread, and the credit card wouldn't work, and having to move this, move that, and it was sometimes having people behind me even pay for the food because I just didn't have it. It was just that bad. So what I'm hoping is you'll hear my message today, that if they're going through a struggle or a hardship, they too can overcome with adversity, right? Something where say, well, I'm facing this adversity. I'm going to be resilient in the face of adversity. I'm going to have grit in the face of hardship. I'm going to have tenacity in the face of dark times. So today, Julie, is much bigger than me. It's about our company and our team helping as many people as we can with our speaking, coaching, our podcast, going on podcasts, things of that nature.
I love it. I love it. Tell me about the Bison technique.
The bison is the only animal, Julie, that charges directly into the eye of the storm.
Oh, wow.
I am a Howard University Bison graduate. I was inducted to Howard University's Athletic Hall of Fame. I was gifted a bronze bison, which I have in the man cave of my home. Okay. And I tell people, the bison charges directly into the eye of the storm. It's the only animal, which is why it's one of the most long-lasting species on Earth. The bison has been around for hundreds of millions of years.
Yeah.
They stood the stand of time because when the storm would come, they would go right into it. And that's life. And I teach people how to have the bison mentality or the bison mindset. Be bold. Fortune favors the bold. Have integrity. Always treat people with respect and dignity. Self-awareness. Know what you do well, but know what you need to work on. Ownership. Make a mistake. Own it. Fix it. Move on. And end. Never, ever quit. So the Bison mentality, the Bison acronym will work for anyone that is facing a storm or a hardship, which is why we wrote our next book coming out is titled Built from the Storm, the Bison Operating System. It's kind of like a cross of like Atomic Habits and Extreme Ownership. Helping people to really start moving towards thriving through the storm and not just surviving.
Wow. And that's a little bit like the stay on course mantra as well. My podcast was created off the back end of my father's legacy. So my father, Julie Riga, before he passed away, left me his life story to finish. And during my time of rock bottom, my father used to say to me, Julie, if the world falls down on your shoulders, brush it off and stay on course. Keep going your way. Have faith and keep going. Don't give up. Like 7 times down, 8 times up. So it was like always that resilient story, because life is not straightforward, right? And here's like the authenticity part that I love that you're bringing into your podcast is like, we need to be talking real about real life and real struggles and like be real people, because that's where change is made. Change is made when we can have real conversations about our struggles and pain and share it with the world. I mean, there's so many people out there that like cringe when you tell your personal story, or they're like, they would never tell their story because they're embarrassed of it. There's shame around it. But I say, let's all start exposing the struggles because we normalize it that way.
People are going to judge you no matter what you say or do. So you might as well be yourself. This way, you don't have to think about, what did I say? How did I come across? How was I viewed? Because you're just being you. And One of my favorite quotes, I'm a big quote person, Julie. I do a lot of quotes in my speaking work, is the following. Smooth seas never made skilled sailors. Franklin Delano Roosevelt. We don't learn about ourselves in the easy times. We learn about ourselves in the hard times. I learned about myself through my divorce, having to move into an apartment that was broken down and dirty and dingy. I only had 2 weeks to get out of my marital home and move into a crappy apartment. I needed 2 bedrooms to have a room for my 8-year-old daughter. And for me, what happened was, I remember when my daughter told me she didn't feel safe in the apartment, that was the moment I stopped pity partying and I stopped saying, poor me. It was a victim. I became a victor. And I changed my mindset. I changed my mentality. I became a bison. I was able to work hard, and I was able to buy my dream home for my daughter and I about 4 months after that, because I stopped doing me. Poor me, poor me. I focused on we, just me and Farrah. Yeah. How can we get out of here? How can we be in a better place? And that is the whole essence of life.
Yeah, it is. And something very similar happened to me when I was going through my divorce. That's the Stay on Course story is birthed out of that experience, because when you go through a divorce, everything is split. There's like little money to be had, especially when you're navigating a child. I also had a child that I had to figure out as a mom, as a single mom, how the heck am I going to do this thing? And it's different when you're by yourself. And so life is throwing us things, whether you have your own business, whether you're working for somebody else. I just believe like every day there's going to be something that, we have to navigate through. And so just having that the bison mentality, that's pretty strong.
Yeah, and I tell people it's an animal, it's an icon that you can just look at and see power and courage and strength and unity. They move as a herd. They move through the storm by putting the weaker and the older and the younger in the middle. And the strong and the powerful and the brave and the bold are on the outside, taking on the main brunt of the storm. And that's the type of mentality we need to have as people. Make sure that the herd or the associations that we surround ourselves with are the type of people that have your back as you're looking to push through the storm.
I love it. Tell us a little bit about your podcast and where our listeners can find your podcast.
It's called Get Authentic with Marques Ogden. I've got my shirt on here, right here, my Get Authentic with Marques Ogden shirt on. And it was started in 2022. It's all about real people sharing real, vulnerable stories, being authentic. It's about the real, the vulnerable, the honest. And people are loving it because it's not a podcast just about how great things are, how great you are, what you're up to, all the highs. It's about the real stories of life.
I love it. Well, thank you for being authentic with us today. Where else can our audience find out more about what you're doing and what's next for you?
They can go to our website, Julie, www.marques, MARQUES, Ogden, OGDEN.com. Or you can check us out. You can shoot me an email, marques@marquesogden.com, or subscribe and check out our podcast, Get Authentic with Marques Ogden. We're always grateful for people that follow us, listen to our podcast, and support our brand.
Marques, thank you so much for being a guest on the Stay on Course podcast.
Thank you for having me, Julie. It was fantastic.